What in God's name is this fucking pile of horse crap that Machine Head shit out for all of us to thoroughly hate and never listen to again? I hated this album. Spoiler alert. I hate this album. It's so bad. Let's talk about why it's bad. So, I imagine the members of Machine Head came together around the end of their last touring cycle, and all the band members came together, and they were like, you know what? It's time to start writing the new album. We need some ideas, guys. We need some big ideas. What is going to just hit the people right in the ass where they want it? And this is how the band discussion went. It went a little something like this. Hey guys, you know what everyone likes? And all the band members looked over at whoever was talking. They were like, yeah, what? And he goes, everyone likes when you rip off Slipknot, Five Finger Death Punch, Korn, and Static X, and bands like that. When you rip them off, and then you do a terrible fucking job at it, and don't even come close to doing anything like those bands did. And all the band members were like, yeah, that's good. I love that. That's a good idea. Let's do that. And then another band member was like, hey guys, you know what else we should do? And they all just sat around in anticipation after that last good idea, and they were like, yeah, what are we gonna do? And they were like, let's make the worst goddamn lyrics you've ever heard in your life. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. Oh my God, let's do that. And that's pretty much how this album came together. And then they went into the bathroom. All of them went into the restroom and they took a giant shit. And then they dug that out of the toilet and they put it on a fucking microphone, and this is what came out. I hate this album. I think I've already said that, but let me just reiterate it. I tried. Really, I did. I listened to this thing twice, and there's nothing of real value to be derived from here. Okay, let me get serious for a second, and I'm just angry ranting right now. Let me get serious and tell you why this album is actually bad. There is no real good musical construction here. It's just your very, very generic, radio rock / generic metalcore. You've heard these riffs before, trust me, you have. If you've ever listened to anything on the radio or any other band similar to this band, you have heard these riffs before. And it's not like they're presenting them to you in a new way that is fun and exciting, because let's face it, in music these days, it's hard not to be ripping somebody else off. That's just the way it is. But in this case, they didn't even try. They didn't try to make anything good. Everything on this is like the opening to the first song is literally, you've heard it in Slipknot before. They just took the section of Slipknot out of it. It's something from Iowa. I'm not remembering right off the top of my head what it is, but you'll know. And maybe I'll put it down in the comments or something, or in the description. You'll know when you hear it. You hear the opening to that track, you're like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. The lyrics are so fucking bad. They're just this party rock bullshit, like Attila talks about, oh, we don't give a fuck and fuck you and drugs and all that shit. But then they also have songs that have the stupid little SJW message behind them, we don't like social issues. Okay, outside of metal and outside of, especially metal, that's okay. I don't care if you take a stand for something that you believe in, but metal has never been about taking a stand on social justice bullshit. No one cares, man. This is not the way to present this argument. Metal has been about, thrash has really popularized, taking a stance on politics, which I'm not a huge fan of either, but I'm okay with, Maybe it's just from the way the genres have been brought up, but thrash has popularized, taking a stance on politics. Bands like Municipal Waste have really taken a stance against Donald Trump and things like that. But man, come on, get this fucking social justice bullshit out of my metal music, man. Nobody wants to listen to that. And you know, the least Machine Head could have done is made this like a 30-minute affair so that you can go back to your life and forget that you ever heard this fucking travesty. But they didn't do that. Oh no, my friends, they drugged this out for 74 minutes. This is an hour and 14 minutes long for no good reason. There are 15 songs on this album. Well, really, there's 14, but when you get to the 15th track, it's called Eulogy, and it's essentially, it's just Catharsis redone with like piano and electric guitar and the vocals, and it's all really slowed down, which on its own, that can be an interesting concept, okay? I'm not knocking Machine Head for that in itself, but this has a couple of things going against it. First of all, by the time you finally get to this song, you have just been exhausted and bored out of your mind and pissed off from the rest of this piece of shit that you are just ready for it to be over. And then there's one more. Oh my god, it never ends. There's one more. And it's awful. It's awful that it never, ever ends. But Eulogy, it tried. I know that it tried. So that's one thing it has going against it. Like, you've already been through enough. This album is drug on long enough, and there's still one more. So you're automatically going to not be nice to Eulogy from that point. But then, the other thing it has going against it, the source material for this song is also shit, and bad, and garbage, and terrible. So this song had no chance from the beginning. The idea of doing this I like, but the Eulogy didn't have a chance from the beginning. And so the idea just looks like shit. The song is shit, just like the other 14 tracks on this album. They're all shit. The problem, and why I'm not going to just flat out give this album the absolute lowest 0 out of 10 score, is because, and this was almost the worst thing about this album. You know, it was bad, but then the worst thing is that sometimes they would tease you and be like, hey, you know what? We might actually do something good here. And they'd start off the first like 30 seconds or a minute of a song, or even like somewhere in the middle of the song, there'd be something good, and you'd be like, oh, you know what? This might turn into a decent... No, never mind. Nope. They fucked it up again. That's the sad thing, is that I heard the potential a couple times in this track of like Machine Head could still do something good, you know? They could still do the blackening if they wanted to, but they don't want to. They don't want to. They want to just put something out that will sell, and so that we can all dance around like fucking idiots and be like, oh yeah, you know what else I like? Attila. Attila's super good. I'm all about that life with those party lyrics and you know, shit like that. That's what Machine Head wanted to do. They're probably trying to adapt a new like fan base to their band or whatever. They're trying to adopt the 12-year-olds. Yeah, well, because you tried to do that, Machine Head, you're going to get shit on, and justifiably so, for this travesty you have unleashed upon us. Catharsis is going to be the worst thing I review for quite a while. I guarantee it. I don't see anything getting much worse of a score than this. I hate this album so much, you don't understand. Look, if you want to sum up this album, you don't want to listen to it, obviously, because of what I and many other reviewers have said about it, of just how horrible it is. You just want to sum it up. You just want to be like, okay, but I want to understand why it's so bad. Go listen to one track from this album. I recommend you do Triple Beam. That song will sum up everything that is wrong with this album for you in one sweet little shit package of shit. So go listen to that if you really want to know why this album is so fucking bad. And that's it. I'm done talking about this. Fuck you, Machine Head.